Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Captain Jerloyshous Graham, your Master of Ceremonies for today. Welcome to our annual Veterans Day breakfast and Veterans Hall of Fame induction ceremony. At this time, will you please turn your attention to our fallen comrades table, which you can find this way over here.
All right.
This table symbolizes that they are here with us in spirit. We should never forget the brave men and women who answer our nation's call and serve the cause of freedom in a special way. We are ever mindful that the sweetness of enduring peace has always been taunted by the bitterness of personal sacrifice. I would like to explain the meaning of the items on this special table. The table is round to show our everlasting concern for our fallen comrades. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call to duty. The single red rose displayed in the vase remind us of the life of each of our fallen comrades and the loved ones and friends of those comrades who kept us safe. The vase is tied with a red ribbon, symbol of the continued determination to remember our fallen comrades. A slice of lemon on the bread plate is to remind us of the bitter fate of those who will never return. A pinch of salt symbolizes the tears endured by the families of those who have sacrificed all. The Holy Book represents the strength gained through faith to sustain those lost in our country. The glass is inverted. They do not toast with us at this time. The chair is empty because they are no longer with us. Let us remember and never forget their sacrifice. Thank you. At this time now I ask that you please stand for the posting of our national colors by the Lake City High School Color Guard, led by the Cadet Command Sergeant Major Caden Green. Our national anthem will be also sung by Jason White Beard, and we ask that you remain standing for our invocation that will be given by Cadet Major Jada Robinson. Thank you.
Gave proof through the bow your heads. Lord, thank you for this day and for bringing us together. We're grateful and thankful for all of the brave men and women here today who have and still are serving our country by your will. Please continue to bless each and every soul in this setting today. Also, please bless the food for the nourishment of our bodies and bless the hands that have prepared it. In your name we pray, amen. Amen.
Please be seated at this time. Thank you, Jason, for that beautiful rendition of our national anthem. And thank you, MAJ Jada Robinson, for those kind words of prayer. At this time, we'll recite the Cadet Creed. For those who would like to participate in reciting our creed, please look at the back of your programs at this time.
All JROTC cadets, on your feet. Army JROTC Cadet Creed. I am an Army Junior JROTC Cadet. I will always conduct myself to bring credit to my family, country, school, and course of cadets. I am loyal and patriotic. I am a creature of the United States of America. I do not lie, cheat, or steal. I will always be accountable for my actions and deeds. I will always practice good citizenship and patriotism. I will work hard to improve my mind and school my body. I will seek the mantle of leadership and stand prepared to uphold the Constitution and American way of life. May God bring your strength to us like that too.
All right.
Thank you. At this time now, we'll have our BC, Jordan Boyle.
Good morning.
Morning.
I am Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Jordan Boyle, the Battalion Commander of the Lake City High School Panther Battalion. On behalf of our Superintendent, Mrs. Casey Fagan, our Mayor, Mayor Jada Robinson, our Principal, Mr. Jason Cook, our guest speaker, Lieutenant General James M. Smith, the Veterans Hall of Fame Chairwoman, Colonel Camelia Scott Skinner, and our Senior Army Instructor, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Watkins, and all veterans and family members joining us this morning. Welcome to the Lake City High School's Veterans Day Breakfast and Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. First, I give honor to God, who is the head of my life. Today, we gather to celebrate the heroes who have served and continue to serve our great nation. Your courage, your sacrifice, and dedication remind us every day that freedom is not free. President John F. Kennedy once said, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not the uttered words, but to live by them. Because of you, we are able to live, learn, and dream in a free country. And for that, we are forever grateful. At this time, I ask all veterans and service members to please stand. Cadets, let's give our heroes a big round of applause. Thank you for answering the call of duty. You may be seated. General Douglas MacArthur once said, "The soldier above all others prays for peace." And because of your service, we have that peace, an opportunity we enjoy today. May we never take for granted the freedom we enjoy, because it was paid for the bravery of those who stood in harm's way for us all. On behalf of Lake City High School and the entire Florence County School District 3, thank you for your service, your courage, and your sacrifice. God bless our veterans, our service members, and the United States of America. Thank you. Now we will have Colonel Camelia Scott Skinner to introduce our speaker.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
It is my profound honor to introduce the distinguished guest speaker for today's Veterans Hall of Fame ceremony, Lieutenant General James M. Smith. General Smith's journey of dedicated service began in his home state, having proudly commissioned into the United States Army in 1992 from Christopher Newport University. Throughout an exceptional career spanning decades, General Smith has demonstrated dynamic leadership across critical roles globally. His key command assignments showcase the breadth of his logistical and operational expertise, including serving as commander of the United States Army Installation Management Command, his current post. In his earlier career, he commanded the 3rd Expeditionary Sustainment Command at Fort Bragg and led the 215 Brigade Support Battalion during Operation New Dawn in Iraq. He also served as the 31st Chief of Transportation and Commandant of the U.S. Army Transportation Command School at Fort Lee, Virginia. A veteran of multiple major deployments, including service in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation New Dawn. General Smith continuously invested in his education, earning graduate degrees from Western University, the Florida Institute of Technology, and the Marine Corps War College. His outstanding service has earned him numerous high honors, including the Army Distinguished Service Medal, the Defense Superior Service Medal, the Legion of Merit, and the Bronze Star Medal. Finally, General Smith is quick to acknowledge the foundation of his success, his family. He is married to former Katrina Williams of Detroit, Michigan, and together they have 2 children. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to an exceptionary leader, a dedicated service member, and a true champion of our armed forces, Lieutenant General James M. Smith.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
You know, it's truly an honor to join you here today, albeit in my personal capacity, but just to be here to witness this momentous occasion. And it's just an absolute honor to participate in this Veterans Day ceremony and Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Interim Superintendent Casey Fagan, Mayor Robinson, I think you're out there, Principal Brooks, to the families, teachers, the administrators, the students of Florence School District 3. Thank you for your continued commitment to this important tradition. And how about a special thanks to the impressive Lake City Color Guard, truly impressive performance today, and also to the singer of the national anthem. What a way to set a tone this morning. Round of applause, everyone. And to all the veterans in attendance, our past inductees and today's new honorees, thank you for your service. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your unwavering devotion to our nation. And before I continue, I'd like to recognize the ROTC department, primarily to the back, the battalion commander to my left here, for bringing this ceremony to life. You know, I've participated in many events, and I know that things don't come together overnight. And I know there's a lot of hard work put into where we are today, and I just want to thank you. Your teamwork, your professionalism, and your dedication are a living example of leadership and service. You see, you represent the next generation of those willing to stand up and serve. And thank you for what you've done to make today so meaningful. And as you've heard, for someone who's served over 30 years in the military, and as a 3rd generation family member, military family member, I'm deeply honored to share this moment with you. And when we gather to honor veterans, we often think about faraway battlefields. We think about uniforms, we think about medals, But long before our honorees raised their right hand and recited a note, they were students. That's right, students right here in the classrooms of Florence School District 3. And they sat in those classrooms, much like the ones around us today, and they learned discipline from their coaches. They learned resilience from their teachers. They learned leadership from their principals and mentors. And the men and women we honor today are a reflection of this district's values, its integrity, its perseverance, and its service to others. These values were nurtured by the teachers and administrators who helped shape their character and their sense of duty. And as such, every educator, staff member in Florence District 3 shares in this honor today because you helped forge the foundation, the very foundation upon which these veterans built their life of service. And this district has long produced leaders of courage and of character. And one of its most distinguished alumni, Dr. Ronald McNair, began his journey right here in this Florence District 3. And he rose from the humble beginnings right here in Lake City to become a physicist, a NASA astronaut, and tragically, one of the 7 crew members lost aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger in 1986. And Dr. McNair's story is one of perseverance. It is one of brilliance. And it's one of service to humanity. It's an enduring reminder that the same classrooms that raised our veterans also raised pioneers who reached for the stars. And this year, we formally induct 14 new members into our Veterans Hall of Fame. And their service represents some of the most critical areas in modern history. From Vietnam to conflict in Central America, to Desert Shield and Desert Storm, to the global war on terrorism. Each of these individuals answered a call when our nation needed them the most. Some served in the fields of combat. Others served in vital support and command roles. But all served with distinction and honor. And earlier you heard the previous quote by General Douglas MacArthur, the quote of soldiers praying for peace and ultimately suffering and bearing the deepest wounds and scars of war. And that truth unites all who serve, across generations and across conflicts. And our new inductees stand proudly in that line of selfless service. And to our past inductees, I offer my sincere congratulations and gratitude. Your continued presence here reminds us that service does not end when you take off the uniform. You see, it continues in your homes, in your communities, and in your example to others. And you each represent a living legacy. A legacy that bridges generations and reminds us that freedom endures only because men and women like you have been willing to defend it. And to the students that I see here today, this ceremony is about you too. Look around. You are surrounded by examples of encouragement, of duty, of honor. And you may not consistently wear a uniform now, but you can still live a life of service. You see, service is not just about the military. It's about doing something greater than yourself. It's about standing up when it would be easier to sit down. It's about choosing responsibility over comfort. It's about character over convenience. You see, General Colin Powell once said, the day a soldier stops bringing you their problems is the day that you stop leading them. And leadership is not about authority. It's about caring for people. It's about solving problems. It's about inspiring trust. And no matter where life takes you, whether it's college, the workforce, the military, or public service, true leadership starts with humility. True leadership starts with the desire to serve others. And remember this, every veteran sitting here today once sat where you're sitting now. They were dreaming about their future, a future shaped by teachers, a future shaped by mentors who believed in them. Florence District 3 has produced generations of men and women who answered the call to serve. And as you can see, that legacy continues through you. So today we celebrate our new inductees. We celebrate a tradition of honor. We celebrate a tradition of courage. In essence, a bond between Florence County and its veterans that has endured for generations. To our new inductees, congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. To our past honorees, thank you for your continued service and example. And to all great educators, many thanks of sowing the seeds of patriotism, the seeds that continue to grow in this district. And to our students and the ROTC cadets, may you always remember that greatness begins with service. As General Dwight D. Eisenhower once said, history does not long entrust the care of freedom to the weak or the timid. Again, it's an absolute honor and a privilege to share this moment with our Hall of Fame inductees. Thank you all. God bless our veterans, and God bless the United States of the Army of America.
All right. All right.
Thank you, General, for those phenomenal words, those words of motivation and encouragement. At this time, I think we can give the General another round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now transition to the Veterans Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Specialist Tony Antonio Witherspoon. Specialist Witherspoon resides here in Lake City, South Carolina. Specialist Witherspoon served as a combat signaller for over 7 years with the U.S. Army. Some of his finest military accomplishments were receiving the Army Service Ribbon, Overseas Ribbon, NCO Professional Development Ribbon, and all in support of the global war on terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Specialist Tony Antonio Witherspoon into our Veterans Hall of Fame. Next, we will have Specialist John Marquise Capers at this time. Specialist Capers resides in Florence, South Carolina. He is a combat veteran, entrepreneur, and community leader whose life is defined by service, perseverance, and leadership. Some of his finest military accomplishments are receiving the Combat Action Badge, National Defense Service Medal, Global War on Terrorism Medal, as well as the Armed Force Reserve Medal with the M device. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Specialist John Marquise Capers into our Veterans Day. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Petty Officer 2nd Class Tanya Wilson. Petty Officer Wilson resides here in Lake City, South Carolina. She honorably served for 14 years in the United States Navy Reserve as both a hospital corpsman and yeoman. Throughout her distinguished career, she has earned several notable accomplishments, including the Navy Achievement Medal, certification as a career counselor, and completion of combat training. A significant highlight of Yeoman Second Class Wilson's service was a 2-week assignment in Italy, where she supported operations at the U.S. office within NATO headquarters, all in support of the global war on terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Petty Officer Second Class Tanya Wilson. John Bennett. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Petty Officer First Class Retired George Singletary.
All right.
Petty Officer Singletary resides here in Lake City, South Carolina. He has served as a machinist mate, refrigeration, and an air conditioning system technician, Navy law enforcement, and instructor for the U.S. Navy for over 21 years. He deployed in 2000 for a community relations project in Tarragona, Spain, and later deployed to Mediterranean Gulf in support of the global war on terrorism. Some of his finest military accomplishments are receiving the Coast Guard and Joint Meritorious Unit Award, the Humanitarian Service Medal, along with the National Defense, all in support of the global war on terrorism. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Petty Officer First Class Retired George Singletary into our Veterans Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sergeant First Class Retired Ophelia Shepard. Sergeant First Class Shepard resides in Florence while owning a business here in Lake City, South Carolina. The Lake City Veterans Hall of Fame Committee has elected to induct Sergeant First Class Shepard as an honorary member. She is a native of Georgetown, South Carolina. However, she has chosen to open a business right here in Lake City, South Carolina. She has served as a chemical, biologic, radiologic, and nuclear specialist for 24 years in the U.S. Army. One of her finest military accomplishments was serving in Iraq as Force Protection NCO in charge while managing over 30,000 soldiers and civilians on her compound. She has earned numerous awards, such as the National Defense Service Medal, Iraqi Campaign Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Expedition and Service Medal, and many more, all in support of the global war on terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sergeant First Class Retired Ophelia Shepard into our Veterans Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Master Sergeant Retired Wayne Bell McLean. Master Sergeant McLean resides here in Lake City, South Carolina. He has served as a combat engineer and drill instructor for over 24 years of service with the U.S. Marine Corps. Some of his finest military accomplishments were receiving the Southwest Asia Service Medal with the Bronze Civil Star, National Defense and Joint Service Medal, Kuwait Service Medal, all in support of the global war on terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Master Sergeant Wayne Bell McLean as our veteran. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Master Gunnery Sergeant Retired Walter J. Burgess at this time. Master Gunnery Sergeant Burgess currently resides in Stafford, Virginia. This U.S. Marine is a proud alumnus of Lake City High School, class of 1980, and a highly respected veteran of the United States Marine Corps. His 28 years of military service includes leadership positions in communications, cybersecurity, and operations at the highest levels of national defense. He has served with distinction in Operation Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and in his role as Senior Enlisted Advisor at the Marine Corps Network Operations and Security Center. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Master Gunnery Sergeant Walter J. Burgess into our Veterans Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Master Gunnery Sergeant Retired Jersey Joe Logan at this time. Master Gunnery Sergeant Retired Jersey Joe currently resides in Madison, South Carolina. He has served as a heavy motor vehicle operator for the U.S. Marine Corps for over 26 years. Some of his finest military accomplishments were serving as the Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Battalion Commander for over 950 soldiers. Some of his awards include receiving the Navy Marine Corps Achievement Medal, National Defense Medal, Joint Service Medal, and the National Arctic Service Ribbon, all in support of the global war on terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Master Gunnery Sergeant Jersey Joe Logan. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Master Sergeant Retired Timothy Miller. Master Sergeant Miller currently resides in Manning, South Carolina. He has served as a medical specialist and patient administration NCO for over 23 years of service for the U.S. Army. Some of his finest military accomplishments were receiving the Southwest Asia Service Medal with the Bronze Silver Service Star, National Defense and Joint Service Medal, Kuwait Service Medal, all in support of the global war on terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Master Sergeant Timothy Miller into our Veterans Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sergeant Major John Wesley Fulton. Sergeant Major Fulton currently resides in Manning, South Carolina. He has served as an infantryman, signalman, and operations chief for over 28 years. Some of his finest military accomplishments were receiving the Afghanistan Campaign Medal with the Campaign Star, NATO Afghanistan Service Medal with Bronze Star, Kuwait Service Medal, all in support of the global war on terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sergeant Major John Wesley Fulton to our Veterans Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Retired Eric Graham. Lieutenant Colonel Graham currently resides in Florence, South Carolina. He has served as an information technology specialist for over 22 years in the U.S. Army. Now, Dr. Eric Graham. He is currently serving as the System Engineer Team Leader for the Department of Homeland Security. Some of his finest military accomplishments were receiving the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Iraqi Campaign Medal with the 5 Bronze Star, all in support of the global war on terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Eric Graham into our Veterans Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Please welcome Colonel Retired Donald E. Slaws. Colonel Slaws currently resides here in Lake City, South Carolina. He has served as a field artillery and information infantryman for over 32 years in the U.S. Army and in the South Carolina National Guard. Some of his finest military accomplishments were serving in Germany during the Cold War era, participating in Hurricane Hugo, and traveling to many locations for both natural and man-made disasters. He has deployed to numerous forward operations, earning him such awards as the Bronze Star Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Iraqi Campaign Medal, as well as the Humanitarian Service Medal, all in support of the global war on terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Colonel Donald E. Slaws. And Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sergeant Melvin Rayfield Hampton. Sergeant Hamilton currently resides here in Lake City, South Carolina. He has served as a radio teletype operator in 1967 through 1969. During the Vietnam era with NATO, although he did not deploy to the Vietnam location, he deployed to Turkey in a NATO-supported role with a top secret clearance, more noticeable after return from the Army. He continued his education journey at the University of Wyoming, where he was one of the Black 14. Now here's a piece of history lesson for you all. The Black 14 were football players at the University of Wyoming that was dismissed from the college for wanting to wear armbands when they played against Brigham Young University. The results of this caused Sergeant Hampton to lose his football scholarship. However, he was able to complete his degree using his GI Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot more to this story. But for now, please welcome Sergeant Melvin Rayfield Hampton.
You are here. You are here. You are here. You are here. You are here.
Mrs. Gloria Gaskins, wife of Sergeant Peter Leroy Gaskins, please come forward. Give her a hand as she comes. In 1968 through 69, Sergeant Gaskins served in one of the most unpopular wars in our nation's history, the Vietnam War, with the 82nd Airborne Division. During his commitment to duty, honor, and bravery, he was awarded the National Defense Service Medal, as well as the Vietnam Service Medal and Campaign Medal. Here to receive his award is his beautiful wife, Miss Gloria Gaskins. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand with me as we possibly induct Sergeant Peter Leroy Gaskins as our Veterans Day Hall of Fame. Thank you. Miss Christine B. Scott and family of Specialist Samuel Roosevelt Scott Jr. II, please come forward. Yes, the family's allowed to come. Specialist Scott served as a Dow Manual Central Office Repair, also known as a Telecommunications Central, with the U.S. Army. Following his graduation from Lake City High School, some of Specialist Scott's significant accomplishments were his deployment from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, with the 35th Signal Brigade as part of the Joint Task Force 11 to Honduras, Joint Task Force Bravo, originally designated Joint Task Force 11, and is recognized as the first U.S. military unit to be permanently stationed in Honduras, established in August 1983. Its initial purpose was to support the U.S. military exercises and commitment in the region. Over time, the mission has expanded to encompass humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, and counter-narcotics operations. The task force operates from Sotocano Air Base, located in central Honduras, best known to his family and friends and skill. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand with me once more as we posthumously induct Samuel Roosevelt. Congratulations to all of our honorees as we welcome them all into our Veterans Hall of Fame. Please give them all a round of applause. And before I take my seat, since we got this April right there with the camera, General, if you don't mind, can I get a picture with you? Is that all right? I want to get a picture with the General. Is that all right?
All right.
We will now have a performance by the Lake City Symphonic Band. This song selection is titled Your Grand Old Flag. Was arranged by our music director, Ms. Chelsea Harris. Please give the Lake City Symphonic Band a round of applause. If I could have all of the honorees that were inducted today to please come forward to take a picture with us. Thank you, General Smith, with this special honor. Your remarks were so inspiring. Thank you for your kindness and for helping us celebrate the incredible work of all of our Hall of Fame inductees and veterans today. It's been a true honor to have you join us and attending our Veterans Day breakfast today. On behalf of the Panther Battalion, we would like to give you a small token of appreciation for taking the time to serve as our guest speaker and bringing us another layer of recognition to our veterans. Thank you. And to our veterans, we will never forget all of the sacrifices you have made and the courage it took to defend and honor this great country. Thank you again. Since I have already blessed the food, it is time for you to get what you all have been waiting for, which is breakfast. But before we get to that, we'd like to take a moment to recognize two very special leaders who have made a lasting impact on every cadet here. Lieutenant Colonel Watkins and Sergeant First Class Jones. On behalf of the Panther Battalion, we would like to present this token of appreciation to the both of you for all of the hard work you have put into this program today and to also serving our country. We thank you. Now it's time to eat. We will go in order from the head table and then then we will start by table numbers. Our cadets will help you and direct you. Thank you.